Hello and welcome back to Movie Husbands. Today we're reviewing Cha Cha Real Smooth. In Cooper Raiff's sophomore feature, Andrew, who works as a bar mitzvah party host, strikes up a unique friendship with the young woman and her teenage daughter. The cast includes director Raiff, Dakota Johnson, and Leslie Mann. So Jeffrey, what did you think about Cha Cha Real Smooth?
I saw Cooper Raiff's first film. It was called Shithouse. It has a terrible name. I don't know why it's called that. But anyway, I thought that he showed like a really great humanist touch in his first film and was maybe bringing crying back to masculinity. He cries a lot in this movie. He cried a lot in Shithouse. Yeah, he was like on the phone crying with his mom for half that movie. Anyhow, I like that film. I like this film even more. I think this is a bit more mature. I think that him being only 23 and directing this as a 23-year-old is maybe its best and worst attribute. There's parts of the film that seem kind of dewy-eyed and maybe a little bit naive, but there's also parts of the film that have this wondrous sense of everybody being deserving of empathy, which I think is maybe its strongest asset.
So going into that a little bit, because I know you said it was you found it to be a bit naive, and while you took that as a little bit to your detriment, for me, I thought it was actually a very positive thing in a way, because he is 23 years old. So I found that being a bit naive in that sense really came across in his character. I really think he nailed kind of what that early 20s adulthood is like. You're not quite a kid anymore, and you're not quite an adult, but you have these mounting responsibilities that are building on you, and how you're juggling that and how you're growing with that, and also kind of being true to who you were as a kid and not quite losing those qualities about your personality, I think is a minor struggle in this movie for him. And I appreciate that he kind of took the opportunity with this film to explore those ideas and concepts.
Well, I think it's both a positive and a negative, I said. Where it's a negative is maybe, I don't think that the relationship he has with Dakota Johnson's character ever really makes any sense to me. I think it just kind of shows up in the movie and they both change from it and then, kind of go their separate ways. But I never really understood what attracted them to one another. The more positive aspects of it or the more emotional aspects, I think there's a certain level of wish fulfillment in this film. Like, if I had said that right thing to my mom at that right time, or I appreciated her, or I had been there for my brother when he really needed me. I'm a very cynical person, so when I watch those, I see it as wish fulfillment or maybe some sort of naivete, because I just don't think those things happen in real life a lot. But I like the way that this movie portrays them, because this movie does go places it doesn't need to go. It's not like it ignores hardships. It doesn't ignore things like depression. It doesn't ignore things like how people treat other people who have disabilities. So I think there's a lot to like here, and it's a very heartfelt film.
Okay, so there's a lot I do want to tap into in reference to things that you were saying in there. The first one that came to mind was Dakota Johnson's character, because I do think the things that make her character substantive are things that are withheld from us for so long until the very end of the movie, in terms of how she's feeling about her relationship with her fiance and things like that. There's like a lot of substance there that she kind of spills out at the end. But right. I felt like because all this substantiveness was held back throughout the movie, it really did not land for me at the end. And on top of that, I absolutely hated the note at the end of the movie.
Oh, I did too. Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. It's so beneath the movie.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't understand that part at all.
It doesn't fit the relation, because they did have a cute relationship where she found something to appreciate in him because of how he was treating her daughter. And they found something connective between them too, even though they have this age difference between them. But it just felt ruined on this stupid note that I thought was going to at least be some kind of substantive letter at least, or just don't even bother. I don't know. It's just like,
the movie didn't need it either.
It didn't need it at all.
Yeah.
I think the conversation in the car was the only thing that it needed. The note just ruined that moment in a way.
I like the part of Dakota Johnson's character that she actually settles on being happy in her marriage. And when she's seemingly unhappy or seemingly looking beyond her marriage for some sort of comfort, I like how the film ultimately decides that that's a very human and okay thing, that people do that sometimes. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're unhappy with their marriage or they shouldn't be with this person anymore. It means that they were momentarily unhappy, looking for comfort elsewhere, only to find that they had it at home. I think that's a really interesting idea, because many times films will just want to do one or the other and not talk about the complexity of how those things kind of fit together.
I'm really happy with where they went in terms of all the characters and how they ended up. Tying back to one other thing you mentioned was Vanessa Burghardt. She was just phenomenal in this movie. I thought she was one of the bright spots of this film. I thought she added a lot of depth an emotional resonance to this film. Like the most that I could have had was in this relationship between Andrew and her.
I agree. I think the film actually would have been pretty trite without her. I think she brings a lot to it. So you ready to go to grades?
Yeah, I'm ready to go to grades. I give this movie a B. I was definitely very impressed with Andrew Raiff's directorial sophomore film here. He's doing a wonderful job at kind of building films that match his age at the time, which seemed to fit just where he is in his life, and he's really accurately portraying that on film in a very interesting way that I really appreciate and I think is doing something that we haven't really seen too much of. Especially at that time period of your life. So I thought this was a very cute, endearing movie at times. Of course, of the things that I was critical about it, I did find it to be very sweet, very funny at times. I laughed out loud at multiple times in this movie. I thought the humor was just very awkward, and it nailed that perfectly.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a B as well. I'm kind of a sucker for movies like this, like these kind of teary-eyed indies. Like I remember seeing Garden State in 2004 when I was in the theater. I was 14 years old, and I was like all about that movie. And I don't like that movie at all anymore. But that type of film has always resonated with me, including and up to this film. I can kind of see why, I don't remember the amount, but I think this was sold for some large amount of money at Sundance when Apple bought it. And I can kind of see why. You could watch this movie and have a pretty emotional response to it and maybe tell your friends about it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really heartfelt and really sweet.
All right, and that's it for our review of Cha Cha Real Smooth. Cha Cha Real Smooth is now streaming only on Apple TV. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. If you have, let us know in the comments what did you think about Cha Cha Real Smooth. And as always, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.